Jimmy looking for the Uso splash.
WWE fans, brace yourselves. The Tribal Chief has returned, and he didn't come alone. In a moment that rocked the SmackDown stage, Roman Reigns made a thunderous comeback, bringing Jacob Fatu in tow and pulling off the unthinkable, reuniting with Jimmy and Jey Uso. The bloodline, once broken and splintered, now stands united. But at what cost? With betrayal, redemption, and tension boiling over, a new era begins. Is this the calm before an even greater civil war within the family? One thing's for sure. Roman Reigns just changed everything. Again. Let's break it all down. Chaos and betrayal. The bloodline shattered. The path leading to this moment had been paved with chaos and heartbreak. Jacob Fatu's brutal betrayal of Solo Sikoa at Money in the Bank changed everything. His vicious assault during the ladder match handed Seth Rollins the briefcase, shaking the bloodline to its core. Then came Jey Uso's heartbreaking title loss to the imposing Gunther, a blow that seemed to seal the fate of the once unstoppable faction. The bloodline appeared fractured beyond repair, its legacy crumbling like ash in the wind. Yet Roman Reigns was never one to accept defeat or disarray. The Tribal Chief didn't just return to pick up the pieces. He arrived like a storm, tearing down what remained and reconstructing his dominion with cold, calculated authority. This wasn't a mere comeback. It was a rebirth drenched in fire and blood. The return, darkness and firelight. The arena was electric, anticipation thick in the air as Paul Heyman's smug voice echoed during his gloating promo. Suddenly the lights cut out, plunging the stadium into a thick, suffocating darkness. The crowd held its breath, waiting for the inevitable. Then, the roar of Roman Reigns' iconic theme shattered the silence. A wave of thunderous cheers exploded as Jacob Fatu emerged first, a towering force, carrying Solo Sikoa's discarded and battered laid-out body as if it were a trophy of war. The imagery was brutal and raw. Fatu, imposing and merciless, laid bare the fate of anyone who would dare cross the Tribal Chief. Following Fatu, Roman Reigns strode out with a predator's grin, eyes locked on Heyman as if daring him to respond. The Tribal Chief was back, his presence commanding the arena like a dark king reclaiming his throne. The Usos return. Loyalty rekindled. Just when the crowd thought it couldn't get any more electrifying, the unmistakable music of the Usos thundered through the speakers. Jimmy and Jey marched out with purpose, their steps heavy with resolve and defiance. Without hesitation, they unleashed a barrage of super kicks on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, the brutal enforcers of Seth Rollins' faction, clearing the ring in a display of unity and raw power. Standing shoulder to shoulder with Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, the bloodline was whole again, but evolved. Roman seized the microphone, his voice deep and commanding, cutting through the charged atmosphere. "You thought you could break us. The bloodline doesn't break. We multiply. This changes everything." The message was clear. This was not just a reunion. It was a transformation, a rebirth of a legacy that had been tested in fire and emerged stronger. Fatu's master plan. Loyalty tested and proven. Jacob Fatu's betrayal wasn't a reckless act of rebellion. It was a calculated move, a brutal test of loyalty orchestrated by Roman Reigns himself. This master plan ensured that only those truly worthy would survive and thrive in the new bloodline. Fatu had thrown Solo Sikoa under the bus, but this was about more than betrayal. It was about cleansing the ranks, shedding weakness, and bringing in new strength. Roman's new enforcer was a symbol of raw power and ruthless efficiency, a force meant to crush any opposition without mercy. Jey Uso's emotional return. Family over pride. Jey Uso's return to the fold carried an emotional weight that resonated deeply with fans. After his painful loss to Gunther, Jey could have walked away or sought his own path, but instead, he chose family over pride. His return wasn't just physical. It was a statement of allegiance and redemption. The bloodline was no longer just a faction. It was a brotherhood tested through trials, betrayal, and bloodshed. Jay's presence fortified the group's foundation, and his loyalty brought hope for a resurgence that could silence the doubters once and for all. Paul Heyman's panic, the Wiseman's nightmare. Backstage, chaos reigned in the camp of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. The Wiseman was caught frantically calling someone, his usually calm demeanor shattered by the unfolding disaster. The loss of Jacob Fatu to Roman's side had just stripped Heyman's faction of their most formidable weapon. Seth Rollins watched from the sidelines, face a mix of disbelief and fury as his momentum crumbled around him. But perhaps most chillingly, Roman Reigns didn't lay a hand on Rollins that night. Instead, he pointed at the Money in the Bank briefcase with a sinister smirk, licking his lips as if savoring the taste of a plan far from over. The New Era. Tribal Chief's Reign. Reignited Roman Reigns' return was not just about reclaiming what was lost. It was about redefining the bloodline entirely. With Jacob Fatu as his enforcer and the Usos back at his side, the Tribal Chief's second reign promises to be even more dominant and merciless than the first. The power dynamics have shifted, the stakes are higher, and the WWE Universe can feel the electric charge in the air. The question now looms large. Where does Solo Sikoa fit in this new order? Will he seek revenge or acceptance? Is Jey Uso's loyalty genuine or just a fleeting truce? And how will Seth Rollins and his faction respond to this devastating resurgence? What's next? The Bloodline war escalates. The Bloodline saga has entered its most volatile chapter yet. Every alliance, every betrayal, every decision now carries the weight of legacy and survival. The Tribal Chief has reignited a war for WWE supremacy, and the battle lines are drawn deep. Wrestling warriors, it's time to sound off. What do you think lies ahead for Solo Sikoa? Can Jey truly be trusted? Will Seth Rollins mount a comeback, or is this the end of his era? Smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the Bloodline war is far from over. It's only just begun. The Tribal Chief's reign has reignited, and WWE will never be the same again.